Good afternoon. Welcome back. It's Christine Regan Lake, and you are listening to The Art of a Life Well Lived. So I haven't done a video in a little bit because my life has been a little chaotic. I actually just got back from a 12-day vacation, and before that, we were prepping the house to put the house on the market for sale. So my life's been a little busy, and I haven't been able to do as many videos as I would like. But I did want to find the time today to put something up that I thought is very important. So today what I want to talk to you about is 3 important things that I did and I believe others would benefit from doing as well if they have gone through or are going through a divorce. So essentially, when you embrace a marriage, when you commit before God, you do a marriage ceremony, whether you did it civilly in the civic system or you did a religious one through your religious organization, whether it's a church or a synagogue, whatever. So when you go through a marriage, you have made a public declaration before God, before your family, and before your friends, and you have sworn that this is a commitment that you are committed to, essentially for life. If you listen to the vows, like in sickness and in health, all the way through whatever. So when a relationship comes to a close, when a marriage, both parties or one party or however it comes to be, decides that this marriage has to end for whatever reason, there's so much wrapped up in bringing a union like that to a close. So 3 specific things that I did in my divorce process was, the first thing I did was that on the day we actually signed our divorce agreement, I gave my husband, now ex-husband, one final love letter. And in that love letter, I acknowledged all of the things that I loved about him as a man and as a husband and as a father. And I wanted him to know that, I was appreciative for all the good that was in our marriage. And I didn't want that to go unspoken. Even though we were divorcing, it doesn't mean it was all bad. It doesn't mean that there weren't beautiful things that transpired during our marriage. So I really thought that was really important, and I wanted him to know those things. And so I gave him the love letter on the day that we signed our divorce agreement. And also, Mike and I and our 2 boys, Parker and Cooper, we all went to dinner that night. We didn't necessarily tell the boys that that's why we were going to dinner, but it was something between us that we, it was kind of symbolically for me, it was, we're still a family. Even though we're not married and legally we're, now divorced, it doesn't, like, we're family for life because he's the father of my children. I'm the mother of his children, and they are our children for life. So we are connected, energetically for life in that regard. So we are family for life, even if the romantic piece is no longer a component to the relationship. So, I gave the love letter and we went to dinner that night. And so I thought that was really important, and it was something that I truly valued. So another thing that I did, which I think is incredibly important when you go through a divorce, and to be honest with you, I did it more than once. I did it several times throughout my healing journey through our divorce and after the divorce, which is you do a sexual cord cutting. A sexual cord cutting is a meditation that you do where you are energetically cutting the ties, the sexual cords between yourself and your ex-spouse. The reason that's important is because when you have sex with another human being, you create an energetic cord, a soul tie to that person, and the more you've been together and the longer you've been together, the cords can be quite thick. So the idea behind the sexual cord cutting is that you want to cut those cords, and you want to be able to disconnect sexually from your ex-spouse. because you don't want to bring that energy into the next intimate relationship that you have, and you will if you don't do these things. So the sexual cord cutting is very, very important, and to do it very intentionally. And I'll put links in the description box to a meditation that there are 2 different meditations from a gal that I did my sexual cord cuttings with. She'll guide you through it in her meditation, and it'll be in the description box. And you really want to be very intentional and conscious about it, and really put 100% into that process. You want to pay attention to the words. You want to follow the guidance that she gives in there, because the more connected you are to this process of disconnecting, the more profound your disconnection will be. Because these things are, when you've been with someone for a long time, those cords can be quite thick. You have so many memories together, and they're also infused with so much energy, good, bad, and everything in between, so it's really important to do it with full intentionality, and to really put your whole self into it, and to really do it to the best of your ability. It's not just something to be taken lightly. It's an important process for yourself and for your ex-spouse, and it will help you feel lighter. You don't, if you're trying to move on with your life, you don't want to be, tied to the past, energetically tied to your past lover, your past husband, your past wife. And then the third thing that I would suggest doing, and I'll put the link into this as well, there's a gentleman, Steve Noble, who has a marriage vow revocation meditation. So now the sexual cord cutting is really about disconnecting sexually, from your ex-partner. The marriage vow revocation meditation is really about stating, when you made your commitment, you made a commitment out loud, you spoke your vows, you spoke them into the universe, to God, into the cosmos, and into your family and friends, to say, this is what I'm committing to do. A marriage vow revocation is now you're going back and acknowledging that things have changed, and I made this vow, and now I'm taking this vow back because it's no longer currently accurate. It's not valid. So I'm revoking that vow so that I can get closure from that relationship. I can close out that agreement. It's like if you make a contract with someone, and now, the contract comes to an end, with the end of your marriage, with your divorce, that contract you made with your partner, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, it has now come to a close. So the marriage vow revocation meditation is you stating before, to God, to yourself, to say that this contract is no longer valid. It has now reached its point of expiration, and I'm revoking this vow. I am now, no longer committed to this person in marriage. So I think all 3 components of that are very important and very valuable. A marriage is a profound experience. It is a very significant benchmark in someone's life. So when it comes to a close, for whatever reason, it's important to acknowledge it, and it's important to acknowledge that it was something important. Even if you have a lot of really negative feelings wrapped up in the experience, the reality is you made a sacred covenant with another human being, and you swore before God, your family, and your friends, and before the civic court, whatever, to be in this commitment for life. And so now when it didn't go for life, it came to an end, the power and the importance of having a certain amount of ceremony to bring for the closure piece of it. You did this huge grand ceremony to launch that marriage, to bring it to a close, energetically deserves an equal level of energy and intensity that goes to honor and acknowledge what it was, honor the good that came out of it. If you have children, those children wouldn't exist if you and your partner hadn't come together. The financial assets you might have built up together, the beautiful homes that you might have lived in, the vacations that you went on to. So I think it's really important, for an individual to acknowledge the good that came out of it. A lot of people can be very cynical and, harbor a lot of negativity, but it's really important on a soul level to acknowledge what was good. And more than likely, there was a lot of good. There was certainly good, the blessings of your children's being born, the holidays you spent with family. It's important to acknowledge that. And that's what these three pieces do. It's really taking the time to honor what was and bring it to an honorable, beautiful, and sacred close, to give it what is necessary and required to bring appropriate, healthy closure to that marriage. So I hope you found value in that. Like I told you, for me, I have found all three of those processes to be very valuable. They gave me an opportunity to acknowledge what I was feeling at the moment, the feelings that I had felt, in the marriage and things like that. And do them as many times as you want. If you need to do the sexual cord cutting 3 or 4 times, do it 3 or 4 times. If you need to do the marriage vow revocation, you'll know if you feel like there's more to do. Like if there's a grieving process to the end of a marriage, and being able to honor all of those feelings, the anger, the frustration, the denial, all of those things. So I hope you found value. I will put the links in the description box, and I do hope that you give it a try, because it was certainly valuable for me. And if you're not aware, I do have a link in the description box as well for my fundraising link for Operation Underground Railroad. Operation Underground Railroad rescues children from human trafficking. I am an abolitionist, and I am committed to raising $1 million for that organization to help them rescue our children, because these children are in horrific conditions, and they need our love and leadership to rescue them. So if you do feel inclined in any way, shape, or form to donate, I would be so grateful. Every penny goes to them. It's the foundational link that goes right to their foundation. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful day. Talk to you soon. Bye.